So, for all of you who may be thinking about moving to Arizona, I'm going to do a review on basically Arizona. The cost of living, what's out here from my experience. Um, I'm not from the state, so this is going to be from an outsider's perspective, and then living here for just a few years. When first moving to Arizona, things were actually a pretty good price as far as cost of living. The wage was kind of low, and they eventually raised the wage, so it's decent now. But we have, we'll start with jobs. We have some jobs where you're looking at McDonald's, uh, Raising Cane's, all of these fast food places who are starting you off at $15, $16 an hour, going up to 18 and 21. Whereas other jobs are more labor heavy, more responsibility, bigger companies, and should definitely be paying more money, but starting off at 12, 13, even $14 an hour. Basically, at this point in time, right now in 2021, you would be better off working at a McDonald's than working at some of these other companies. And that's unfortunate. That needs to change. Another thing I've noticed about the companies out here is that you will get hired for one position, and then they will basically try to train you into several other positions, but then not pay you for that type of position, or hire you if they see that you're good enough. They will have you train other people and not pay you for the cost of basically being a trainer. Um, that's another problem. They don't want you to really talk to other people about your pay, what you're allowed to do. And a lot of them have a high turnover rate. So my suggestion, because there's a lot of different opportunities out here, find something that is going to basically show appreciation to you as a worker, support you and your goals, because at the end of the day, if you were to pass or something happens, the only thing that they're going to say is that you were a good worker. I've literally met people who worked at companies for years, and at the end, all they got was maybe like a free phone service, and then what are you stuck with after that? A lot of them want you to be bilingual, so be prepared for that. Um, you will get turned down from a lot of jobs if you're not. And also, what I've noticed is that a lot of the companies they don't like to go by their own guidelines once you're in the company for a while. A lot of them just kind of go off and do their own thing. A lot of the work, especially if it's a hard labor job, will be pushed on to the new people, whereas the people who are there for a long time will be doing less work. If you're doing sales, please find out what they're getting paid on the back end, what everybody else is getting paid that's under them, and then what you're getting paid, so that you understand exactly how that company is working and paying you. Because there's a lot of companies where, let's just say, for example, they make $5,000 off of a deal, and you'll make $300, $400. When you're getting hired at these companies, remember that when you're doing the interview process, you're interviewing each other. You're trying to find out if this is a good fit for you, and they're trying to find out if it's a good fit for them. Ask as many questions as possible. It should be equally as uncomfortable for them as it is for you. If you're like the type of person that's nervous when it comes to jobs. If not, then do your thing and ask as many questions as possible, like I said. Get all the information that you can so that you're not in a position where you're questioning what exactly your benefits are, etc. If you don't know how to do your taxes, let me just give you guys a little tip on this. I'm not a tax analyst. I don't do that legally. This is just a little tip because a lot of people don't know. When you mark on your taxes the lowest amount, they're going to take the most taxes out. So if you're needing to have more money during the time that you're working, make sure that you put the highest percentage, which is usually the number on the end. You can always change that during the time that you're working too. If you ever decide that, okay, I'm making enough money now, I can afford to like put more money towards my taxes, whatever. Um, there are a lot of companies out here that are like call centers. Some of them are legit, some of them are not. I've literally worked for call centers that were good companies, you make good money, and they're legit. And then I've also worked for call centers that were basically like scams, and they will get you to work, pay you literally like pennies to the dollar, and then they'll be making a lot of fucking bread. But then, in addition to them making a lot of money, next thing you know, they'll be raided, and then the company will be shut down. If they owe you a check, they're not gonna pay you, and this has happened several times out here. Or the company will just shut down before that happens, and then move and rename their company or whatever, um, and kind of leave you hanging. So just be aware of stuff like that. Talk to the people who work there. That's going to show you everything. Look at their body behavior, their energy, how they're acting. Ask them questions. How long have you been working here? How do you think the company's treating you? How much are you getting paid? Etc. Now, if you like to make a lot of money and you're a hustler, I would suggest doing things that are like 1099. There's Uber, there's Lyft, there's Postmates, there's Instacart, there's all these basically rideshare companies, and there's a lot of rideshare companies that will give you vehicles to work with. Now, if you're going to do this, I would suggest doing it full time. Otherwise, you're literally either going to put wear and tear on your vehicle so bad that you're not going to be able to keep up with the repairs, or you're going to end up paying a lot of money for a weekly rental. The average cost of a weekly rental right now for a rideshare is about $325, depending on where you go. So just be careful and make sure that you're putting your all into something like that. It can be worth it if you're gonna put the time and energy into it. But just make sure you keep a steady schedule. That's gonna be the biggest thing. Now, since the COVID, prices and everything have gone up in the cost of living. So where you're working and how you're working and how many people are providing an income in your home is going to be very important, because at this point in time, it's almost impossible to keep up with the cost of living unless you have multiple incomes in your home. And even that is going to keep you barely above water if you don't know how to budget well, or basically if you're not getting paid enough. And that's just the honest truth. To work or to work at home. Now, of course, that's not for everybody. Some people have kids, having especially young kids. If they're running around being loud, you got to constantly get up, feed them, whatever. That it's going to be a little bit hard. So just pick and choose what you think that you can deal with, and let your job know what exactly you can work with. And then if you have more time available, more days available, then you can always change it from there. At the end of the day, you are trying to make a living. You're trying to create generational wealth. If you do or don't have kids, it doesn't matter. And you want to make sure that you're stable and secure. We all have a right to that. So if you're at work, you're being harassed or anything like that, I don't give a fuck if it's your boss, a coworker, whatever. Say something about it. If there's things that are going on in the workplace that you feel like could be done better or easier, you definitely want to work smarter, not harder. And those things will always be taken into consideration. Hopefully, if the company is, good for that, or, open-minded to change. Some of them are stuck in their ways. They want things done their way, whether it's hard or not. So look at those type of things also. Now, there are jobs that are weekly and bi-weekly. If you're the type of person that needs money basically on a weekly basis, like myself, then make sure you find a job that is a weekly pay. Otherwise, a bi-weekly will be a hassle. Some people feel like it's better for them. It helps them budget better. If that's you, then more power to you. If not, make sure you find a weekly job. There are some also that will pay daily or instantly, depending on what it is. So take that into consideration as well. If you are ever in a situation where you need money early, talk to your job about, do they offer advances? Some jobs will give you an advance if they see that you are good at your job, at your position. But do understand that they are going to want that money back. And unless you want to be in debt and have that money taken out of your next check, I would not suggest doing it. However, if you are in a situation where it's absolutely needed, then some of them will provide an advance for you. Now, some companies will offer you stocks. So they will be a privately owned company, or those stocks will be private basically, and they will offer you stocks every year and then buy them back and put them into your 401k. There are some people who have left their jobs and retired as early as 50 and have walked away with millions of dollars. Of course, these are people who started early and were there for a long period of time. So please keep that into consideration. And I think that is all I'm going to say about jobs and work as far as Arizona. For the people who make a ton of money out here doing other things, usually that requires either the connection, the resource, or having some type of degree that goes behind that. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope this helped in some form of fashion for you. And if you're considering coming out here, if you already are out here, I hope that that can help you in at least a little bit or maybe a lot. But I definitely want to help to put out as much information as I can to help people. This won't be the only thing. I will cover other categories and subjects to help people as much as possible. Thank you. Last tip is try to keep your personal life and basically doing the high school drama situations at work. Nobody wants to deal with that. You should be grown enough that you can separate the two. Business should be business, personal should be personal. I know that a lot of people disagree, mostly rich folks, but when you have rich money, I guess you can kind of do whatever you want, right? But then you still got, rich people problems. So keep that stuff separate. You don't want to mix that stuff in at work. Just be professional. That's the one thing that's missing the most out here. You can definitely tell there's too many grown folks out here that are very high school oriented when they're dealing with work. It's a turnoff for people who are coming into the business. We don't want to see your drama and like you guys flirting with each other. It's not a dating app. Be professional, conduct your business, do all your flirting and all that out of the job. Now there are some businesses that will provide counseling and stuff like that. That's a space for you to like deal with your problems. That's fine. Other than that, leave it at home.